Welcome back to Broncos Central. I'm Nathan McKenzie, and this is my review of the game between the Brisbane Broncos and the Gold Coast Titans. If you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe, join the conversation, have your say, and be a part of Broncos Central. It'd be great to see you, and it'll be great to hear from you as well. Before we talk about the game, let's go through some stats from the game. So, possession and completion. The Broncos led possession 52 to 48%, and completion rate also won 84% to 74%. In attack, the Broncos also won. Look, I'm just going to be straight out. We actually won all of these stats, except for the one that mattered, which is on the scoreline. So run meters, post-contact meters, line breaks, tackle breaks. You can see it all there on the screen. Even the average play the ball speeds. Everything that I actually spoke about in my preview, we actually improved in. I think we probably leaked too many run meters, but you can just see where run meters are actually getting better and better each game. So same with line breaks, tackle breaks. Like I said, play the ball is a little bit faster. We'll go into defence now. So tackle efficiency is up near the 90%. Tackles made, yeah, we made less tackles than the Tigers. Missed tackles, still a bit higher than I'd like, but still less than our average for the season. Ineffective tackles, I thought was brilliant. Anything less than 10, I think, is incredible. Errors, I always said between 5 to 10 errors. So you look at all those stats, and we are improving. There is improvement in the game. You listen to Madge's press conference after, you can hear that things are getting better. As I believe the 1%ers are letting us down. Right, let's quickly just go through the review of the game. It's going to be tough, I know. I don't really want to do it. I was even questioning two in the review, but the whole thing about supporting your team is going through the wins and the losses, and this is just the stretch we're at the moment. So when you actually look at the game itself, it took a long time for us to actually score. The first 10 minutes of the game is when we dominated. We should have scored a try. We should have fear in the Titans, the fact that we're going to score from every possession, and that defence actually gave them power to actually have the confidence that they could come back. When they're scoring those first two tries, the first one was through Piakura, and then 2 minutes later, a brilliant attacking run down the left-hand side of the park led to a try to Staggs in the corner. Yes, it was a shame that Duffy went off for HIA, but Ezra actually came on and actually changed the game. I was impressed to see what he did, his attitude. You could just see the confidence that he actually brought the rest of the team when he did come onto the field. And I actually think once he went, we almost fell apart. I'm not saying that's the reason why, but you look at the next two tries that we let in. But before that, Piakura, how good was he in attack? But not only that, in defence, some of his tackles were brutal and they were amazing. And I think he had an absolutely amazing game. And I'm really disappointed that he did not make the Queensland side. Even he should have been in the squad at least, or he needs to be there for game 3. You just see what he does in defence and see what he does. We need that against New South Wales, and I think that's a missed opportunity for Billy Slater. We then go on to concede the next 2 tries prior to half-time. Now, the first one, I do feel a little bit sorry for Kajeski. He was in the right place at the right time to catch the ball, but he should have held on to it, and that led to a try from Moran. And the next try was just, I don't know what's going on in our defensive line. Poor Ben Hunt and Simo, they just, I'm not saying they looked at each other. Sammy just went straight through them, and Walsh just couldn't compete. I know Madge was questioned in the press conference a couple of times with regards to his fitness, and he said, yep, he's fine. I personally believe that is not the case. I know Walsh is down in confidence, but he should have competed with that at least. He should have still tried and actually gave more effort than what he did in that instance. I'm not saying he would have stopped him, but Sammy, great through defensive line. Yeah, again, very poor reads by us in defence. Then after half-time, it's the same story that we did against the Dragons. Same thing we did against the Warriors, even though we scored first there and after half-time. Defence is the problem. We're leaking in, like the first try to Peachy after half-time was just down the middle and offload off the ground. I spoke about their offloads during the preview. Gold Coast don't offload that much until the game is on the line. But we just let too much opportunities for them to gain confidence throughout the game, and that's what happened. Their first try, and Brisbane had a cracker of a game. He went through the middle, beautiful inside ball to Peachy, and the second one was just all Peachy. He just, again, our defence was atrocious. I don't know what is going on with the training during the week of what our skills are. I know we've got different players coming in and out of the squad, which makes it difficult, but you look at the best teams in the competition at the moment. Yes, people can say that most of the best players are on the park, but still, you look at what Penrith did on the weekend, you look at what the Dolphins did up in North Queensland against the Cowboys. These teams, like Manly, are still dominating teams, and you look at how they started their season. So I know we can turn this around, but we really need to fix our defence. I know something came out today on SENQ, or SEN as a whole, with regards to is the whole Ben Theo thing starting to take a turn, and is that the reason why our defences, after that game against the Bulldogs, were almost leaking over 30 points a game? Yes, I know our attack should be good enough to withstand that, but no, you can't win games by leaking that many points, especially against the two bottom teams in the competition in the last 2 weeks. But they started to come back. A great try to Arthur's out in the corner. Beautiful cutout pass by Duffy. I think he's going to be the halfback moving forward next year. Benny Hunt, I love you, mate. I'd love to see you in the number 7 jersey, but I just saw from your defence tonight, and I just think, unfortunately, your best impact will be off the bench, and the best thing is you can cover in the halves if required. But yeah, I just think defensively, you're just not at where you need to be at the moment, mate. And it's a shame because you're a great Brisbaneite. I'd love to see you in that number 7 jersey. I think you deserve to be there, but I just think at the moment you just, like what I mean, just the one player, overly critical, but yeah, it was just something that I think we just need to work on. And the next try after that was to Piakura, beautiful offload to Anderson. Anderson had a brilliant game. He caught a couple of beautiful bombs as well, so I think he did really well in the centres. I personally would have switched the two around. I put Anderson on the wing and put Arthurs in the centres. But I think Anderson actually played really well in the centres. He did really well down the left-hand side, especially in the first half with that lead-up try to Staggs as well. So that was fantastic. And I think initially I didn't think going for the 1-pointer with 7 minutes left was a great idea. But after watching a game today, you just heard the commentators, especially Cooper Cronk, just yell at the screen at the players on the ground saying, if you get a chance, take the field goal. So I love the fact that we did that. We just didn't capitalise after the fact. I give Kenny so much credit for the try that he scored to win the game. We actually picked up in defence. Our last 15-20 minutes in defence was excellent. We were just driving in tackles. We were keeping them down there. I just think, unfortunately, it was just a one-on-one brilliance from Kenny at the end. I felt for Walsh at the end there. I just think he just needed a bit more aggressive in going after the ball. And I think he was still a bit worried. Like, he had a fracture to the face, so I totally understand why he's not going in there 110% like he would normally. So in that regard, I do feel for him in that sense. But I feel if he actually went more for the ball and he actually wasn't really concerned about himself, then I think he would have stopped that. But again, like I said, I totally understand why he'd be worried about, especially after the injuries he's had, not just with his face, but obviously the rest of his body. Yes, we had a chance to win the game at the end. I was critical at the time, but after listening to a lot of people over the last couple of days, the heat of the moment, sometimes you do things that you wish you had over again. I saw it in the game today with Parramatta versus Canterbury as well. We had the opportunity to go right, which we should have. But even then, I look at it and go, yes, it was a missed opportunity. Yes, we probably say, at the heat of the moment, made the wrong decision. But you know, if you've made a break and you're going to left-hand side, all the players are not going to be on side. You just need to spring it right. If we fail, but we just have the opportunity to do so. I had to listen to the press conference after the game. Again, a lot of things were thrown at Michael Maguire. He's defending his team. I personally believe there's a lot going on behind the scenes that we're not seeing. Reynolds is doing the same. He's defending the club, which he would do as a captain, which is great to see. We just need to see it on the park, guys. We just need to see... Like I said, I saw the effort was there, which I'll speak about in a second. And even Madge started the conference with, they're bloody trying, I know that. And you can hear that it's just the 1%ers, I think, that are letting us down at the moment. Like I said, there's small defensive errors. Like that first try of the Gold Coast, like we should have aced that. We should have stopped the ball. It was unfortunate Gajeski let the ball out of his grasp. He was in the best position to catch the ball, which was fantastic, but then he lost it, and Moran was just there at the right time. This positioning of certain players at certain times with regard to our defensive efforts. There's 4 tries, 2 before, 2 after half time. That's what killed us. It wasn't the Kenny try at the end. It was the 2 tries before half time and the 2 after. That's what actually let us down in the long run. And as I said, we're not playing for 80 minutes. You can see in patches how brilliant we can be. And the good thing was, yes, we didn't score those first 2 minutes, which we should have with the domination that we had. But we just played that brand of football, which you just... After that time frame, you should be stopping the opposition from having the ability to score themselves. And that's what we did. I thought after we were up 12-0, I thought, okay, this reminded me of the game against the South Sydney Rabbitohs last year. They were missing so many players. It took so long for us to score the first try. And then the second half, with all that pressure we had, they just fell apart and we put 60 points on them. I'm not saying we're going to do that this game, but I just had the thought process that, okay, if we just dominate this team for 20, 30, maybe 40 minutes, in the second half they would have the ability to come back. But then they gained a lot of confidence from that semi-try. Yes, the first try they would have gained a little bit, but getting that second try, they knew that they had the wool over us with regards to our defensive efforts. So overall, disappointing, especially for the night. The jerseys that we wore, the reason why we wear that jersey, the team wore it proudly. But I just think, unfortunately, it's just hard as fans when you spend all your hard-earned money on these jerseys, on all this sort of great apparel, and you let down in the last minute. Again, like I said, I've said so many videos so far, as long as I can see that my team's trying and they're working hard, then I'll walk away happy. And yes, in some extent I am. But when you see it, it was almost a replica of the Cowboys game all over again. A game we should have won. We had the opportunity to ace it, and then we just didn't react in the last 5 minutes like we should have. In instances in that last 5 to 10 minutes, we did react. You can see the defence. You can see what we did against the Titans. It was just, again, just a couple of little plays that we just weren't switched on, and you need to be switched on for the full 80 minutes of this game, or you will be defeated. So remember, please like and subscribe. Please join the conversation. I'd love to be you all to be a part of Broncos Central. Let's get this group bigger. Let's talk about the game. Let's talk about the Broncos, and I'd love to see you there. So just remember that there's always next week. I remember when I was younger, I used to be down for days and also maybe weeks after a loss, but now I've just learned, even when I play sport myself, when the game's over, you go home and you live life to the best of your ability. Yes, I know we're not professional. I'm not a professional sports person by any means. You're just going to need to understand that there's always next week. The team will be back. We'll be able to support our team while they're out on the ground or on the TV screen. So next week we're against the Rabbitohs. It looks like we'll be without Reece Walsh. I'm not sure with any injuries from that game. I don't think if I said it, but if I did say it, my man of the match for this game is Brendan Piakura. Not only in attack but in defence. Like I said earlier, I believe he should be in that Maroon squad. He deserves to be there with the way he's played. And I haven't said it in a couple of videos previously. When he came back after injury at the start of the season, we actually started to play better, and I still think he's the best player at the moment in our squad. I know Payne Haas has played well in his last 2 games, but again, we lose him to Origin next week. So we'll have to have some other players step up, and we'll see what the players are doing coming back from injury. So we'll see how that goes. But all the best. See you next week. Bye for now.